The second core value in stewardship is trust. One of the most beautiful and enduring signs of trust takes place every spring when a farmer plants his field. In placing that small seed in the soil, God has entrusted the farmer to be a good steward of the earth. And likewise, the farmer has to trust God. In spite of drought or storm, the farmer trusts that God will provide everything that seed needs to bring about a great and bountiful harvest. This same thing happens in our own lives, often in spite of daunting problems and great difficulties. When we develop a relationship of trust with God, we become good stewards, believing that we will use God's gifts wisely and that He will provide us everything we need to bring about a rich harvest.
My name is Adrian Abeda, and this is my wife, Danielle. We have 3 kids, with 1 on the way. We've been going to Immaculate Heart of Mary for 2.5 years now. So growing up, I fell away from the church as I got older and chose to be atheist. So you start to believe in what society is telling you. That becomes the norm as opposed to what the church actually teaches. You're not interested in what the church is teaching. You only believe what society is telling you, and that is there may or may not be a God or a church on earth.
When I had gotten married to Adrian, like he had said, he was an atheist, so it was something I wasn't allowed to talk about. I had to keep my mouth shut, and I wasn't allowed to say, you know, oh, well, God did this, or anything about God. I was not allowed to even say the word God because he would get frustrated with it. We actually had an event that kind of changed our lives, that we were driving on I-25, and it was a really snowy day, and we slid across I-25 over all 3 rows. The car had completely turned around, and it actually had stopped right before it hit the cement barrier. And we had our newborn son in the back seat with us, and all of a sudden there was no traffic on I-25. We got back on the road, and all of a sudden all these cars started coming again after we had regained control of the car. And I told Adrian, I said, you know, deny it if you want, but somebody was looking out for us today. And it saved my life and your life and our newborn baby in the back seat. And it really hit me, and it affected me in a really hard way, where it was something I knew I needed to find something.
My name is Marty Cody, and this is my wife Cheryl. We've been parishioners at Immaculate Heart of Mary for 15 years.
In my personal life, I've had many opportunities to practice my trust and my faith. 2 of those times for me were one when I converted to Catholicism. Happened to coincide very closely with my engagement to Marty. The other time in my life that I think I was able to experience an opportunity to step out in huge trust was when we adopted our son Kolya from Russia. Something in my heart leapt forward, and I think it was God telling me, you need to meet this boy. You need to make a decision along with your husband about whether or not this is going to be the member of your forever family.
It drove me to my knees quite a bit. Wanted to make sure that I was ready, and I want to do the right thing for my son. I want to do the right thing for him.
You want to make the right choices. You want to make the best choice, not just for yourselves, but also for that child. And we knew it. We knew that Kolya was going to fit perfectly when we met him and spent some time with him.
One of the best rewards was being able to be hugged and saying, "Good night, Dad," when my son first did it, when he first learned how to speak his first few words. And that was pretty special, pretty important. I trusted God, and He rewarded us pretty mightily, beyond my expectations, When
Adrian told me that, you know, he wanted to learn more about the Catholic faith, he wanted to look into it, I said, okay, you know, let's look into it as a family, let's do this as a family. When I started coming down to the church, we actually started doing it just every once in a while, and then we're like, you know, we actually need to come every Sunday, because that's what it says, is you're supposed to come every Sunday.
I was waiting for the moment where I would say, stop, I can't do this, that's a lie, I can't trust this, no way. But as I kept going through RCIA and kept learning what the church teaches and why it was teaching it, I started to trust the church more and more. When you start to trust the church, you're trusting the church because you trust what Jesus Christ said. Taking yourself out of the driver's seat and letting Jesus drive, letting Jesus take care of it, that's hard, but as you build your faith, the trust gets a little easier as you go. That's something that I learned, and I still learn to this day, and I still work on it. Just because it's 2 years later doesn't mean I'm the best at it, but I'm still working on it.
Life is a journey, and there's different stages that we go through. And in those stages, it grows our faith and our trust. And I believe beyond a shadow of a doubt that God has great plans for my son, and that those plans are going to be to prosper him and make him have a good life, because God promises me that. And if I'm faithful in asking for that, then I believe with all my heart that God will honor that request.
Good stewardship is only possible when God trusts us to use wisely the things of the earth, and we trust God that He will provide all that we need. And it brings its own reward. When we have that confidence, that trust in God, we soon discover that we have a co-worker with us, and that we will be able to overcome every obstacle. And that brings with it a wonderful comfort, the comfort of knowing that we don't have to walk this journey alone, but that as good stewards, we can depend on God's providential care, and we can trust Him to meet all of our needs. That is stewardship.